Next is an article that I just added today. And the reason I added this
categorized section.
Oh, right. Darn it. I didn't actually put it as like news or anything like that. I always forget to do that. I always forget to tag the category.
That happens to me too. I have to go in and fix that all the time on mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm dumb.
So basically I did this. So I was thinking about, okay, how do I help promote awareness for this, you know? And I was thinking about just doing like a tweet, which I did a tweet, but I mean, I was like, okay, why don't I make it an article and we can talk about it? Because essentially there was a game that was released in the mid-90s called Angel Devoid. It was called Angel Devoid, The Face of the Enemy. Now, this is like a cyberpunk tech noir FMV based, but like point and click adventure type game that has a lot of like quick time events, you know, so that you don't get killed kind of thing. And it was released for the PC by Electric Dreams Incorporated and really published by Mindscape, MS-DOS, and Mac OS. Our very own, I don't know if we could call him our very own, but Dr. Eric Amarez, the dude who we did an interview with, you know, on Duck Corporation and True Motion Video. It's his video codec that's being used in the PC game. It's also his video codec that's being used in the Saturn version. And it turns out that Night of Dragon did in only a way that he can, I guess, you know, like I mentioned it, I brought it up in the translation discussion. He was like, well, let's just see how realistic this is. So he basically downloaded a copy of the PC version, downloaded a copy of the Saturn version. Within a few minutes, he was able to inject the video files from the PC version into the Saturn version, boot it up, and it actually ran. And there's like a proof of concept video that he uploaded showing that it works like in an emulator. I went ahead and downloaded his patched image, and I can confirm that it runs on real hardware as well. So Saturn recognizes the True Motion, the English True Motion video files, and it plays them back no problem, right? But the problem is that there's a frame rate difference. And Eric Amarez, he basically explained that the game system is counting frames, and it's using a simple system where it counts frames in order to determine when it should prompt the user to press a button, you know, for like an action event, you know. And because the PC version is running at 10 frames per second, that video is encoded 10 frames per second, and the Saturn version is 15 frames per second, basically you get killed before you have an opportunity to do anything, because it's counting frames and it gets to the event and plays the video before you're given an opportunity to actually, you know, click on something or select, you know. So it plays back the entire intro sequence. It plays the video fluidly. It looks great. It's just that when you get to the first prompt, you die because you get blown away. But it is a really cool, I think at least, it's a really cool like vibe to this game. It's very derivative and reminiscent of Blade Runner. What else can I say? So the ask, Kay is like asking, so what's the ask? We need a programmer basically, because Night of Dragon, he's got his hands full and he's like, I don't have time to work on this right now. Like, we've proved that it works, that you can swap the videos, but what's going to need to happen is either the original video files are going to have to be like remuxed or something, or they're going to have to just figure out a way to get the audio from the English version and swap it into the Japanese video. But long story short, there are resources here. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. All of the visual content, all the menus and everything are in English in the Japanese game already. Even as you can see, the title screen is in English, because it was basically a pretty straightforward port from the PC game. So it's really just the voiceover dub. You know, it's the English video that needs to be inserted. And Eric Amarez, he's in our Discord chat. He's in the translation chat, and he's available. Like, if you want to like pick his brain or you have questions, like he said, you know, go ahead and reach out to me if you have any questions. So if the right programmer,
I believe, in the Discord.
I'm sorry?
His name's Eraser Mice in the Discord.
Eraser Mice, that's correct. Yes. Exactly. So essentially, we just got to figure out how either we got to get the video. Either we got to get 15 frames per second English video swapped in, or we just got to get audio and swap it in. You know, why?
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
So there's some programs that you can actually use to AI to artificially like increase the frame rate and like upscale it. They do a lot of that for like different things where they make it, oh, this video accepts it in 60 frames. So I couldn't see why you don't up it to like 15 frames, and even though it's artificial frames and it's a hacky workaround.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be good enough to work, so I don't see why. Maybe if there's a way to use that to up it to 15 frames, if we can get that effect without it looking too awful.
Right. I mean, honestly, this is beyond me, you know, but this could be an easy, I don't want to say easy, okay, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but this could be a pretty straightforward project for the right person out there. It really just comes down to the fact that like Trekkies and Night of Dragon and even Derek A-Team, they have their hands full with other stuff. And what I don't want to have happen is just for this to get forgotten, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of languish and then just be forgotten, because I think that already it's just, I sent an image to Ben too, you know, and he fired it up on his Saturn. It was like, oh yeah, it runs great. It's just, you can't get past that first prompt. And it really is just that frame counting issue. So, I mean, you've got the original programmer, the original guy who did the codec at your disposal in terms of like, you know, picking his brain and asking questions. Get into our Discord chat and you can talk. Yeah, I'm sure you can ask questions. Night of Dragon, he's always available and willing to answer questions. And of course, Trekkies, I don't think anybody knows more about like Saturn video compression than him, you know, in the homebrew scene. That's just kind of like his specialty, you know? So if there's somebody out there, this is a call to arms, basically. This is a public service announcement that if you hear this, or you know somebody who's a programmer who's looking for a project that's fairly straightforward, I mean, it just feels like most of the work is already done for you. Just got to get past some of these little technical niggles, you know? And, but, you know, I mean, Night of Dragon, he was able to just write a tool that would basically swap in all of the video files into the Saturn image, make the image, and then it plays back on real hardware. So for that to even happen, you know that, you know, the biggest obstacles have already been cleared. It's more or less an issue of, you know, figuring out the, you know, the finer details here. So anyway, I put a link to our Discord translation chat. And I'm just hoping that the right person will come along that will take interest in this and help it come to light. Because I mean, here we could have a very good looking, you know, and good running English Saturn game, you know, and it's cyberpunk, you know. What's not to love? I'm not going to play this clip on our show, but they're like, when you go to this bar, she pulls out a gun and then you like blow her head off. Like, so, you know, it's like, it's definitely a yellow label game for violence and like, you know, probably some sexuality stuff, you know, but it's definitely, like I said, a Blade Runner-esque kind of game.
Yeah, so I had a couple questions real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
On it. So basically all they did was they just literally swapped the video out like 1-to-1, or did they have to recompress it in some aspect?
Literally, and I feel like, you know, I didn't up the image that Night of Dragon gave me. I probably could append the article but it literally, he just dropped it in 1-for-1. He dropped in the PC video files, which albeit are in a different frame rate, but they're still true motion, and the Saturn just was like true motion, played it, no problem. You fire up the game, you get the intro logo, you get the video, you can skip ahead. And then of course you get the Saturn menu, you know, screen, which says Deathmask, even though the videos say Angel Devoid, which was the original title of the game. But aside from that, like, it all runs, you know. You press start and it takes you into the first video sequence, and it plays back like the nurse is talking to you. And then when it's your first chance to do something, your little reticle doesn't come up, basically, because it's not activated yet. So a guy walks in and like blows you away, and it happens over and over and over again.
Yeah, because my thinking is that if I can up the frame rate to 15 artificially, and then re-encode it into however the true motion is, whatever the format was. Yeah. And replace it in there, I could maybe get around that and see if that would be able to fix our issues.
Yeah. That would be, that's one idea that might be worth pursuing for sure.
Yeah, so I'll start looking to the AI upscaling and see what I can do, and if I can get some more details on how exactly to what format and how to encode it, I could probably encode it and see if that would be a workaround. That even though it's hacky, I mean it's a lot easier than going to the code and fixing the frame rate checking.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like there are a couple different ways. That's one new way that I hadn't even thought of, like with the AI. And you know, there are a couple different ways to approach this, but for sure, like that's the only thing is I'm not sure. Like, you would have to re-encode it into true motion though, and
yeah, that's my issue is
well,
that's the hardest issue that I'm running into.
Yeah, well, because I talked to, we asked Eric about that, and he said while he does have the tools to play back true motion, he doesn't at the ready have, you know, tools for creating true motion files. So I mean, maybe one of the guys in the group does have that or have access to that, but yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, yes, definitely. This might be a flash in the pan kind of thing. It might go unanswered, but I figured it was at least worth putting it out there. I put it out as a tweet too and asked people to retweet it. And I figure it's just the right person needs to come along and pick up this ball and roll with it. And I think, you know, maybe we could have like a playable game on our hands.
Yeah. But I'll look into that, and if I could figure out how to do that
if you could do it. That'd be rad.
I could try to get the frame rate up, and it should be good to go.